I'm a 3D artist, and in this video, I updated Minecraft with some of the most vicious and over-the-top boss fights I could come up with, and even got a real mod developer to judge what I made from 1 to 10. Step 1 is to take the skeleton model and leave it in the Chernobyl exclusion zone for a few weeks. To make this boss fight work, I actually need to add 5 different mobs in total. So to move fast, I'm just gonna peel the texture for this guy right out of the Pale Garden, which is a relatively new biome useful for getting pale wood or getting victimized by this beautiful creature. Minecraft has never really been scary on purpose, but I think some dude at Mojang finally snapped and said, "That's it, we traumatize children now." And I respect that sentiment, I do. But I gotta take it one step further, so I'm starting my Pale Garden expansion with this dude, the Pale Skeleton. I'm borrowing some inspiration here from the unused creaking concept art. Some of these are pretty bold designs, to say the least, but the general theme of lopsided head shapes and rambunctious limb placements have always been really cool to me. Next, I made a zombie variant. This one's a bit thicker, a bit less likely looking to evaporate when sneezed in the general direction of, but I'm still keeping the weird geometry for this one. I even added all these resin spikes on the ribs and the shoulders. Zombies are supposed to be kind of stupid too, so his head is just an empty tree stump. We even got the glow maps on here so you can feel threatened as early as possible. The Bark brothers here aren't just for show either, even though this place could use some more variety, because they, ow, see my health bar just now? They actually remove hearts from you. It's not permanent or anything, it's just a cool new balanced potion effect I'm trying called siphoning. The whole point of this area in the first place is that the resin is slowly draining the life force and the color out of everything, so I think it's a fitting effect for something like that. Stop! Each additional level of the effect takes another heart away, so you can just, wait, does level 10 just kill you then? I didn't think this through. Okay, it stops at 1, I guess that's fine. There's already an unused health boost effect in the game, so between this area needing more use cases and this effect needing a negative counterpart, it's actually not that much of a stretch compared to some of my, updates. So the Pale Skeletons shoot arrows of siphoning, and the Pale Zombie just inflicts siphoning when it touches you, but you can also get it yourself using resin as a potion ingredient. These guys are pretty neat, but they're definitely not a boss fight on their own. So next I started making a giant egg based loosely on the dragon egg, with the slight modification that it has 8 times the volume of the original. Just hear me out, okay? I'm going somewhere with this. It's got an inner resin layer and an outer bark layer that has multi-stage textures so it can be chipped away over time as an indicator of how much health it has left. On paper, this sounds like the easiest boss ever. I mean, it literally doesn't even move, but it summons waves of these scoundrels to protect itself. You know how you can summon invasion events in Terraria? It's like that. The egg isn't remotely the main problem to deal with here. To start the invasion, it's actually very simple. You just have to find 8 creaking hearts and place them like this in the Pale Garden at nighttime. You've probably picked up on this by now, but the creaking heart is also a stationary entity that summons things to protect itself, and that's what we call thematic consistency, baby. And speaking of creaking hearts, there's actually one more mob this thing can summon. Let me just pop this into Blockbench real quick. Now you're probably thinking, Daniel, that's not a mob, that's just a block. But here's the thing, I gave it legs. This is cool, okay? Hear me out. It's called the Blooming Heart on account of the flower I copied and pasted onto its head. And believe it or not, this is probably the most sinister one yet. You know how the Creaking Heart makes these weeping angel things invincible? Okay, now imagine it could move. The Blooming Heart picks out a mob to protect, and until further notice, that mob might as well be an unkillable titan. You can't hit it, you can't shoot it, you can't blow it up. You have to kill the thing for— get back here, you— yeah, they also run away from you, so that's just incredibly annoying. Good news though, they have a maximum range, so if it's breaking your ankles too much, you can kind of just chase them away and they can't do anything about it. So the egg can summon all 3 of these things, and if you're playing with friends, it works kind of like the trial spawners, where the more people there are, the more mobs you get to fight. I can't believe I'm saying this, but even all of this is still just the lead up to the boss fight. But with all the extra difficulty, it feels like there should be some extra rewards as well. I mean, sure, they all drop resin, so you get a lot of that, but from what I can tell from the wiki, the only uses for this stuff are blocks and armor trims. So to make it just slightly more useful to have around, I decided to add resin armor and tools, which are very strong for being so simple to get, but there is a catch. Remember what I said about resin draining the life out of the environment? The same concept applies here. So for every resin armor piece you're wearing, you get a permanent level of siphoning, which reduces your max health. So a full set is better than iron armor, but it drops you down to only 6 hearts. The chest plate gives you the best protection per lost heart, but it's up to you how you want to balance that. One silver lining with this is that the timber twins giving you siphoning 2 doesn't really matter if you already willingly gave yourself siphoning 4, which means this material has an advantage in the area you acquire it, which would have been great game design, but I didn't realize this until after everything was already made. The tools, on the other hand, are also very strong, but have a chance to bonk your hunger down a notch whenever you use them, which is a pretty steep trade-off, but it's not like food is scarce in this game, so you can definitely get around. There's probably more we could do with this, but good code doesn't exactly grow on trees, especially in Java, and especially in Minecraft's code base. There are better better ways to learn these skills though. Coursera, for example, has a Java specialization from Duke University. Oh yes, next time I break the game, I'm gonna do it academically, you get me? You know what's gonna be a good Java course when this is the guy teaching it? In addition to regular Java, I also use Microsoft Java a lot for my most dubious game development projects in the Godot engine. Thankfully, Coursera has C# courses taught by the company that actually made the language and is part of a certificate program with assignments and quizzes and projects while still being doable in a few weeks at your own pace. This has a few benefits as a learning foundation compared to the jiggle physics tutorials or whatever. So if you or a loved one are trying to learn game development, social media, or really any major skill, Coursera's got you covered with over 10,000 courses and specializations from over 170 leading companies and universities. Check it out today using my link in the description to start future-proofing your skills. Thanks Coursera for sponsoring. Let's get back to the video. For the next phase, I'm redesigning the creaking itself. My version, however, is slightly larger if you look closely, coming in at 6 blocks tall and being made out of 81 different cubes. Yeah, if it's not obvious already, this is where all the time for this video went. This is up from the previous impoverished count of 16 cubes. It's not fancy, not even a little bit. It's a big creaking, okay? What more do you want from me? This one does have 200% more eyes per head, and I even added more eyes on the arms. Maybe that's too far. I think it's just perfectly uncomfortable. He's got this wooden rib cage with vines going all up and down the sides. The arms and legs are split like bones or something. It's turning out to be pretty intimidating with the branches hanging off the top. So I stuck a flower on top with flex glue, and now he's just a little cutie pie. The mouth can even open and close. This is of course a reference to mouths from the human fandom. Even the fingers are modeled individually. A lot of the time it's possible to make textures at Mach 10 by just taking a block texture like this and just spray and pray until it looks halfway decent. And I would have loved to do that, but my stupid brain got the idea to draw the wood grain almost like musculature and have the patterns flow seamlessly between the blocks. This took me literally forever. If the mod developer doesn't notice this, I'm going to crash out. Anyway, so this thing gets birthed by the giant egg from earlier. If you can beat the wave battle, oh my, that is quite the entrance there, buddy. Maybe you could stand to be more considerate. Ow. Yeah, so this is the puppeteer. They do quite a bit of melee damage, as evidenced by, I said so. The good news is that they don't like to be looked at, just like the creaking. It doesn't stop them or anything, though. It only slows them down. The bad news is, if you look away, this happens. So it speeds up when you're not looking, and it slows down when you are looking. That top speed is extremely terrifying. This thing is, do not let this man touch you. Do not look away. Do not engage. Do not play this video game anymore. But as long as it never leaves your line of sight, it's actually pretty easy. You know what I don't do though? I don't make easy bosses, so we added a secondary ability to spawn up to 2 of the synonyms, root relatives, to mess your day up. Fighting these things is hard. Fighting them while keeping line of sight on something else is just sadistic. Especially if they also run away from you. It's pretty stressful. I love this one though. I think I might have some kind of screw loose. He is limited to 2 spawns at once, so it doesn't turn into... Well, actually, there is one exception. If you manage to beat this thing down to half health, it spawns 2 extra blooming hearts, which make it more or less invincible until you deal with them. It's a lot easier if you bring a friend, because one person can always be on watch duty. But if you don't have a friend, you're probably pretty good at the game anyway, so you'll be fine. Since it's so tall, it's pretty easy to get stuck, which means you can kind of sit under a tree and tickle his ankles for a little bit. So now if he gets stuck, he does that thing, breaks all the blocks in the area, and palifies the world around itself, which actually makes it do more damage. Isn't that fun? It's like it's drawing the power out of the surroundings. I'll admit it's kind of busted, but it is thematic, and that is what matters. Not really though. The zombies are probably the easiest to deal with out of the 3, so if you never kill them, you can eventually stick them in a jail somewhere and make the fight a lot easier. But for a boss this difficult, it's important to have rewards that match the effort. So if you make it through the egg boss and the actual boss, he drops this stuff called resin ichor, which can be used to make a few different items. Number 1, a new type of lantern. Just kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding. It's called the resin lantern, and you can charge it up by putting resin chunks into it. Another use for resin, by the way. And for every charge it has, it can block 1 instance of damage for whoever placed it. The logic is that it works like the creaking heart, but for you get to be... I imagine this would be really useful when setting up boss arenas. Like, you could spam these things everywhere, and then you'd have a giant advantage at the beginning, at least, as long as they don't get blown up or you don't eat up the charges by getting set on fire or something. The next item is the resin totem, which works kind of like the totem of Undying, except it tanks 50% of all damage you would take. It's like armor 2. It's kind of insane. There is a catch, of course. It only takes 32 hits before it breaks, and when it does break, it releases all the damage back to whoever's holding it. So it's risky. Like, you want to get use out of it, but not too much. There's additional tech where if you can get something else to hold it when it breaks, it releases the generations of damage on them like a nuke. Hey, check out this item. And if you happen to have leftovers, they can make really strong siphoning potions, so that's another option, I guess. There's probably more we could do here. I think these rewards would be worth it, but it doesn't matter what I think because my time ran out and it was finally time for the mod developer to judge my work. If you want the models for this video, they're on my Patreon with all my other models.
Why are you stepping away?
Don't worry about what I'm doing. I just had to.
Oh my, the design itself is really cool. I really like how it looks. I really love these living hearts. They're really pretty. Also, like, the mechanic of it is sick. The armor itself, I like the idea of them. Very unique. It's like not the best in terms of where it is in the game and where you obtain it. It's really hard to add any armor that wouldn't be overshadowing already existing armors or being in a state where they're not worth anything. I really like the egg. I find it like really cool that the sides went down when damaging it. The spawning animation is sick as well. It scared me a lot when it first spawned. Also, with the creaking mobs like these, compared to the blooming heart, they're not really that unique in terms of design. One thing I would have done, even though the helix particle is cool, I would have like used the same particles as when you hit a creaking. Having a new particle for it is kind of out of place and could be confusing. The model and art are good. I love the boss, the blooming hearts, but some of the other things kind of pull it down. So personally, I think it's around a 7 out of 10.
With that, I didn't impress the mod developer that much, and then they did the world's first lantern clutch just to flex on me. This must be possible.
I did it!
Oh, no way. But this isn't over until it's 10s every single time. See ya.